It's something I can blame Kevin Dixie on.
I'll take it.
Since he's the one that got me started with this in January 2020?
Yeah, around then.
Thank you.
Over at Mike's
I knew
house.
there's something that I wanted to do with this on the show. All right, Zeke's coming. He's in. Coming in. Here he is. You do it, Klint. You make the joke.
All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot. I really enjoyed talking to you guys this evening, and we'll have to get you back.
It was like the
easiest interview ever.
Meet the Pressers with Matt Mallory and Klint Necro. Brought to you by Public Safety and Education and the Trigger Pressers Union.
This episode is brought to you by Sabre Red, pepper spray and safety products for all Americans. Next Level Training, makers of CERT training products. Mantis. Mantis X helps shooters suck less. Firearms Owners Against Crime Institute for Legal, Legislative, and Educational Action. Meet the Pressers is also supported by other shows, companies, and our Patreon members. Thank you.
Welcome, everyone, to Meet the Pressers. Meet the Pressers is a safe place for trigger pressers to get together, congregate, talk about education, classes, guns, gear, gadget, political activism. My name is Klint Macro, and this is my esteemed colleague, co-host, Matt Mallory, and he's going to introduce all of our wonderful guests this evening.
Thanks, Klint. So, KD, Kevin Dixie, how are you, sir?
I'm fine, sir. How are you guys?
Phenomenal.
Excellent.
So you brought all of us together, minus Klint, but Klint will be there next year. So I'll drag him by his toenails, get him away. You put an event together called the Train and Learn, where you bring people in that are influential in the industry. And we all gathered together in St. Louis, Missouri recently. And why don't you tell us a little bit short bit about the event, because we're all going to talk about the event, but a little bit about the event and then a lot about you.
Well, one, thank you guys for the time, and we're just not going to breeze by that well-polished radio intro that Klint just did. I mean, that was just phenomenal, man, phenomenal. Had the pleasure of being a student of Klint's. It was a good time, great guy. Well, Train and Learn was born. I'll talk about the event before I talk about me. Train and Learn was born because I saw a problem in the industry, right? And when I say the industry, I mean the freedom community. It's not necessarily just firearms instructors or advocates or influential people or YouTubers or anything like that. Just an overall void of information, education, and sustainability. And when we see people fail because they didn't get assistance from their peers, it's not just, hey, this guy or this girl flamed out. It's also like that's an asset, right? They're going to reach a group of people. They're going to talk to a group of people. They're going to have a way of presenting a message, or maybe even content, or maybe even writing things, or maybe even dealing with political figures that's different from any of us, right? Because we're all unique. And so I realized it wasn't just about people flaming out. We were losing assets. We were losing warriors. And I wanted to make sure that the freedom community stayed as strong as it could. And the first thing I noticed is we are a passion-driven industry or space, if you will, without the right business acumen. Right? We don't understand that in order to sustain, you have to have a plan. You have to know how to have a work-life balance. You have to know how to strategize. You need to understand what, if you're trying to run a small holster company, you need to understand what total cost opportunity is. Have you ever studied just in time? That was invented in Japan. Do you understand how manufacturing works? Do you understand logistics? Do you understand savings? Do you understand podcasting? Do you understand marketing? Do you understand SEO? Do you understand Zeke presented on the psychology? Do you understand how to advocate? Tony's presented on that before. There are all these different things that go into play. Do you understand, if you're an instructor, for example, people saying oh, you have to be this person teaching, all these high level classes. Well, we had a nice young lady break down to us, Jara Hutchins, break down to us how to generate $247,000 in one calendar year by just doing entry level courses. right? So all these things that we wanted to have out in that information, if you're a content creator, we wanted to help you understand what you are creating. How do you complement your message? And that was just born because, I was blessed. I came in and immediately I had the right message, right time. I blinked, and within a few months, I was all over television and the internet and doing interviews. And I realized that my path is not the same as everybody else's. So I wanted to bless the people with the resources God blessed me with. So that's how Train and Learn was born. I didn't talk about the event, right? Yeah. No, I avoided that, but that's how it was born. That was the idea of it, to help people. And then as far as I go, I'm just a kid from St. Louis, Missouri, the North Sector, the Walnut Park sector. As far as the guns go, was a civil rights advocate when I was 15 years old. And I say that loosely, not knowing what I was doing, but I just like a little street corner preacher trying to get people to do the right thing, even while I was still doing the wrong thing. I kind of wanted us all to do the right thing. Wound up doing that for several years. Took a job at the St. Louis City Police Department in our prisoner processing division, and was standing there having a conversation with some officers one day, and we're all standing around, and we started talking about the Second Amendment. And I just had an epiphany. I knew what it was, but I just had an epiphany to holy crap. Everything that I'm talking about, all this human equity building, holistic healing, fighting for our rights, building a more stable country means nothing if we can't protect it. And I happen to be pretty good with a gun. I just never thought about teaching people about the gun. I de-escalated situations and told people how to stay out of trouble with them. But I was like, wow, well, I'm pretty good at this teaching thing. So if I'm going to educate people on their civil rights, if I'm going to tell them to fight for those, why am I telling somebody to spend 30 years building something and then somebody can just knock on your door and take it in 3 seconds? The math isn't mathing, as the kids would say now, right? So I decided that I would spend a portion of my time not only continuing to help people, help their families, teach them, give them educational value and skills, which is what I do in my community outreach programs. But at the same time, we could bring firearms training and the message of the Second Amendment and why it is important with civil rights, so we can teach individuals how to not only be free mentally, how to have equity in their lives, but at the same time, how to defend the equity that they are now invested in. So, and that's who I am.
Awesome. Well, go ahead, Klint.
Oh, no, I was just saying, sweet. I enjoy listening to you speak too, as well, Kevin.
I'll take that as a compliment, sir.
Awesome. So, Chris, you're the next up on the chopping block. Go ahead and give us a rundown. You're out of South Carolina. You do a lot of the stuff that the other instructors here, Klint, myself, and Tony and such do. So give us a rundown, a little bit about what you got going on.
So I own and operate South Carolina Gun School. We're in the upstate of South Carolina. We do pistol, rifle, a little bit of shotgun, some mindset, situational awareness classes. We've worked with some different church groups getting safety teams started. We've also worked with groups that have already had a safety team in place, just learning how to work together and pretty much just trying to get everybody comfortable and oh God, I can't talk tonight. Comfortable and confident with their firearms, because the world's not getting any better right now. So everybody needs to be able to protect themselves. Very true.
Very true.
So
I see you've got a USCCA official partner banner in the background, and then I think I see the edge of a zombie 3D target from Triumph Targets, which we've had Jared on the show too, John Tigtag.
Yeah, I've got one of those. Jeff hooked me up with some of those a while back. I've kind of kept one hanging. It's a great little conversation piece when I have students come in and stuff.
Very cool.
And it's been a pleasure working.
I swear I'm not laughing at Chris. I'm sitting here. I couldn't help but laugh because me and KD have our little cans, and then Tony does this, grabs a 2-liter. I'm sorry, Chris. I couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
You missed the random bottle of soy sauce earlier. So
yeah, he was drinking soy sauce earlier,
and all I got is a little glass.
You got to keep your pinky up like the queen drinks tea, or like you have to get a magazine out of a subcompact. Get your pinky out of the
way. He's crushing that bottle in more ways than one.
Tony's like, I don't care. I'm gonna keep doing it.
Right.
I'll go back to my little drink.
Chris, we're really sorry, Chris, that Tony stole your thunder. So with
That's
that
all
being
good.
said, Tony,
I'm used to Tony stealing my thunder.
I think that's payback because you guys broke up at the Turn and Learn.
Probably
Tony,
is.
you're up. Tony.
He's still hurt over that.
Yeah, I can't believe he broke up with me over biscuits and gravy at breakfast. It was horrible. The way it just came over, she just came over, looked at us, just go, Are you together? And he goes, No, we're separate. I'm like, oh my goodness, what a horrible way to tell people.
Problem is, you probably let the person hang there. They just assume that you were together.
Oh, the look on her face was hilarious.
Yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Hey, now.
No.
You do you, boo.
But they're for the kids. How do I explain this to the kids? So anyway, there you go.
Zeke's gonna star in the next Brokeback Mountain, right?
Well,
oh goodness,
that ties into Train and Learn.
Yeah, this is supposed to be Train and Learn, guys, not Train Wreck. Come on,
get it together. Serious business.
Yes. So, my name is Kevin Dixie, and I come from St. Louis. I started as a young street preacher, but I worked for the Department of Corrections. And I came up with an epiphany one day that I should get into Second Amendment advocacy and help it grow. So I saw Tony Simon. I said, "Hey, I should do that thing." Yes, I'm Tony Simon. I started something called the Second is for Everyone Diversity Shoot, but actually my advocacy goes back before that. Originally born and raised in Virginia. Joined the Corps, got out of the military, came to New Jersey, tried to get involved in firearms, and they just had so many obstacles built into it that they made it frustrating for me. So I didn't buy a firearm up here. Fast forward 20 years later, I purchased my first firearm. I go to a training class. I was like, this is great. I want to become a trainer. This is in 2012. And at that time, Sandy Hook happened right shortly after I spent a gang of money becoming a trainer. And I decided to write a letter to the New Jersey legislators, open letter, and also to my legislator. And me and my partner, Sean, took about 4 or 5 hours writing this letter. I was new on the internet with social media, so I posted it on my social media. Now, this is a guy who had like 24 friends. That was it. I mean, actual people I knew. And over 15,000 people saw that. It went viral, and people started writing letters. I asked people to either use my letter verbatim, did not care, or just use it as a jump-off point for them. And that's how my advocacy started. I'd already joined Second Amendment advocacy groups in the state. Shortly thereafter, I testified in front of the assembly. Was really nervous. If you visit Simon Says Train on YouTube and watch my video, you could see it because I can't remember it. I was that nervous. It scared the hell out of me. But what it motivated me to do was try to get others involved in advocacy and ease them into it. And I asked other Second Amendment organizations, did they have something to get minorities involved in Second Amendment advocacy? And they said no. And the reason I say minorities is because there was 200 pro two-way supporters at the very first assembly meeting about these bills, and none of them were Black. I was the only Black person that spoke. And I'm like, we need more of us because I see us at the range. I know we're gun owners. We need to speak up. So February 2015, I started the Second is for Everyone Diversity Shoot at Gun for Hire range. We did it every other month at that one range. And as time went on, we planned on going to other ranges. It got to the point I had to sell tickets because we were overflowing the range and exceeding the capacity that it could hold. And then in 2020, with the COVID shutdowns, a range in PA reached out to us and said, hey, we heard the ranges are closed down in Jersey. Want to host your event here? And in 2020, in the middle of COVID, we started hosting events every month in Pennsylvania. And it grew from there to the point that we've hosted events in 4 different locations in 2 states. steadily to the point where we're doing it every 2 weeks now. And I've also hosted in Omaha, Nebraska. So I heard about Train and Learn. Kevin invited me out. I went to the very first one, became friends with a lot of people like Chris. We met each other there. We met some interesting people. We stayed in contact. We've collaborated on stuff, and it was really important. So I'm glad I went there, and I keep doing advocacy work. They assisted me in coming this year, and in next year I'm going to hopefully pay it forward. Actually, I know I'm going to pay it forward so other people can come to the event. So that's what I am. That's what I do. And that's how I learned about Train and Learn.
Awesome. And you just started a
Yes.
Tony, I know you have your own show and you are the star of your show, but you can't just like trot all over Klint and I. This is our show.
I'm just having a beverage, a diet beverage.
Oh, anyway. So you just started a nonprofit, right? And you get your 501c3?
That's what I'm working at right now. Yes.
Awesome.
We started the process. We have the permanent address. Now it's picking officers. So it's all grown up stuff, which is a little weird, but I know with having a nonprofit, it'll increase the number of organizations and people that will support us, and that helps out greatly.
I've owned a few businesses through my adult life, and a couple of them have been nonprofits, but not the same thing you're talking about.
It's interesting because when I started this out, I didn't want to ask for money because people, internet is being the internet, and some gun people being what they are. Oh, why are you going to charge money? Why are you asking for money? Why don't you do it for free if you really cared? And I'm like,
yeah.
I used to listen to those people because I thought, you need to do this for everyone. The second is for everyone and everyone. And I'm like, yeah, this stuff costs money.
Yeah.
Gasoline, food. I mean, I provide food to these events. All this stuff costs money. And a lot of industries profit off of this. And I think maybe they've helped over the years host these events. But because I'm not a 501c3 and they can't write it off, they're kind of limited to like swag and things like that. So when you become a charitable organization, they can they can help you out and write it off themselves. So that's what this is about. It's about being able to spread it, grow it, and to do that, it needs to be funded.
Yeah, for sure. Super. Awesome to hear it. Zeke.
No, yes.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. So what am I talking about myself?
You are, sir. Just give us a quick elevator speech on all about Zeke.
But I don't have a 2-liter.
You are a 2-liter, sir.
That's true. That's true.
It's not a competition, Zeke.
I know. I'm getting nervous like I was in my presentation. Jeez.
Yeah, right.
So my name's Zeke, and I got into the whole gun industry. Well, we can even start with where I was born. I was born in Texas. I was raised in Tennessee, and basically they give you a firearm when you come out of the womb in both those states. So guns have always been around me in my life, hunted, but I was never really a gun guy. Then in 2011, company I was working for opened a location in a rough part of Clarksville, Tennessee, and I got a handgun to carry, got my carry permit. And when I dive into something, I dive in head first. Everything I can learn, I learn, and started watching all the YouTube videos, listening to podcasts. And back then, there was just a handful of podcasts, gun related. And called a buddy of mine, Marty Holder, and said, "Hey, let's start a podcast. Are we allowed to cuss on this show?"
Sure.
Okay, so Marty then goes, "What is a podcast?" and next thing you know, we started a show called Talkin' Lead. Within a year, we were the largest gun podcast, and we're in 117 countries, and we didn't know what the heck was going on. We were just doing this thing where he and I were learning as much as we could about guns, and we were bringing people along with us for the ride. Parlayed that into working for another school that is actually a competitor of mine now, so I won't mention their name. They were one of our sponsors at the time, and I became their executive vice president of product and positioning. Was over a lot of the marketing initially, and then curriculum, content creation, stuff like that. And after 4 years there, a casting company reached out to me and said, "Hey, do you want to be a gun judge on this competition show?" I didn't think it was ever going to happen, so I auditioned. And then they found out I had podcast and radio and YouTube background. They said, "Well, forget the judge part. Let's make you the host." And still, I'm like, all right, whatever. It's not going to happen. 8 months later, we're filming, and it was called Master of Arms. It was on Discovery Channel. And did a season of that. Then afterwards, I just kind of took a step away from the industry for a little under a year. I went into motorcycle marketing for a year for accident injury attorneys for motorcycles. And I was passionate about education, and I was passionate about the gun industry, and I missed what I was doing before. So I reached out to MGS. At the time was Modern Gun School, and we've rebranded since to MGS Trade School. And said, "Hey, look, this is what I can do," and became a partner with them. I'm the chief marketing officer and director of the school.
Cool. Hey, I was talking to Matt. We were thinking about doing some remakes of some old cartoons and TV shows, and I was looking, and I thought you'd be a great He-Man.
Power of Grayskull!
He-Man that kind of let himself go, or
Here's the clean living, right?
yes, exactly. Well, thank you for not giving me Steven Adams from the Memphis Grizzlies or Aquaman. I appreciate that.
Now that you say that,
Aquaman, yeah, kind of,
yeah. Well, he said thank you for not, so we won't go there. So I have to say something because I'll forget. Tony reminded me. So KD, you came up with a thing called Create-A-Ways.
Mm-hmm.
And so I figured, I like coming up with my own acronyms, as some of you guys know. You've taken classes with me and whatnot. So I came up with a thing called my BIC.
Okay.
You know what? The
Great show, guys.
I don't know if I want to be associated with this, dude. Let me pump the brakes a little bit. I know it's Tide Month, Matt, but come on, bro.
Did you say Tide Month?
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, definitely. I said
Tide
Tide Month. Yeah, that's what I said.
Well, the box is colorful. So you know how we say bug backup gun?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm gonna say BIC backup knife. So Create-A-Way.
That's not at all where I thought you were going with that.
Oh, okay, right. That is the Create-A-Way you walked away with. Yes, it is. That's what you're creating right now.
Yeah. And the best part is that this will be on TV. So.
Oh, nice. Make sure I get that.
Cold Steel. That was the item that I was gifted as a Create-A-Way winner at the Train and Learn. So it was nice. Chris, you had some nice swag too, didn't you? That you got. What'd you end up getting?
Yes, I got the Mantis Blackbeard X, and then the Primary Arms 1-6x24 ACSS Nova reticle. So
Primary Arms makes good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, for the price, you can't beat their stuff.
No, I wasn't even aware of the price until I started doing the research on it. And
look at that.
It's very, very affordable. So I'm excited to get it on a rifle. I got to talk with Anthony from Tactical Life, and we're gonna work on a rifle and to put it on and get it running and stuff. But no, I've already got some videos filmed up, working on getting those edited. So Blackbeard X is going to release Friday in the morning. And then the Primary Arms, I'll have it dropping next Friday after the interview I did with Ken.
Awesome.
Yeah, Mantis has been a sponsor of ours since the beginning.
Yep.
And Primary Arms was a sponsor of PDN training tour last year and the year prior to that. And I've done a lot of, I try to volunteer a couple times a year and do a Project Appleseed. If you guys are familiar with that, I don't know. It's a rifle marksmanship and heritage program. We teach history lessons while we do rifle marksmanship. But the rifles lay on the mat all day long in the sun. And some of the cheaper scopes, if you leave it lay in the sun all day long and it's like 90 degrees outside, reticles just kind of melt and things happen to those scopes, the cheaper ones. And I got to tell you, the primary arms ones have held up really well, kept their zero. And for the money, like, you can't beat them. And I did have one that was broken, and they took care of it so fast. It was amazing. Great customer service.
So KD, there we go. We got 3 sponsors dropped right there on the show so far. So.
I love it. Love it.
Take care of those. Oh, MGS Trade School too. 4 sponsors. 4. Awesome. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's all about making it go around, right? Help those who help you.
Bros helping bros.
So I missed the train and learn. And actually, KD invited me when he took the class with me. He says, "Why don't you come out?" And I just, because of scheduling, I had another thing going on. But KD, what would you say? Like, everyone, I'm sure, talks to you afterwards. There's after action reports, or people sending emails or calls or posts. What do you think was the best event and or class or thing that took place that people were most talkative about?
Well, it's funny. I'm always looking for that. But if I had to rate it, it's kind of like one wins one day and the other wins the second day. So it averages out. So people are not expecting, no matter how much we market it, day one, adult learners are very interesting, right? So I have to be very creative with the way I select speakers, because they have to be people that can really capture adults who have, registered for a service. These people have invested in themselves. They're not made to come because of their job. Nobody's forcing them. So their expectations can potentially be a little high, but they're not expecting much. Like, oh, we're going to sit, we're going to look at some TV, whatever, you guys are going to talk. Anyway, let's get to the guns, right? And that first day is always mind-numbing for them. And like, I'm not going to ruin it for the man, but the way Zeke opened up his, like, it threw everybody, right? But in a good way. And then when we had Amari come in right after Zeke did the grand open, and Amari came through, punched him in the gut, and then Mike Bauer came in and told you that if you don't do it, you're going to fail with a nice hug. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing. And then so a lot of people weren't expecting that, and they did come up and they was like, man, I got to tell you, I wasn't expecting to truly learn how to grow my business. I thought you were just going to be picking things at random to talk about. Like, no, so that was great. People really came away. I saw those pens and those notepads going all day, being filled up, just a bunch of them, because everybody was absorbing so much information. And that's not even including the conversation that breaks, how people talk after the event, the first day. So all that was great. Day 2 is always fun, because now we're starting to deal with not a lot. I'm talking about just a sprinkle of ego, just a tad bit, just a little bit, because you have to. Now it's time to. Part of what we do is shoot guns. So now it's time to be like, all right, let's get in our groups based off skill set, and let's go shoot guns. And then the fun begins, right? The fun begins about skill levels and stuff like that. But it's in good taste. And so a lot of individuals that haven't been exposed to a lot of different trainers, or a lot of different training methodologies, or even different classes, if it does not involve a trigger, were extremely pleased and extremely shocked. Jason Corretto, Wildtack, I think, because Jason's a very unassuming looking person, I think when he really got people out to the range, he stunned them with the things that he brings. But we're also talking about a guy that grew up in the state of Wyoming. The way he handles a rifle and his methodology is going to be different than those of us who grew up around urban and suburban areas. It just is. Even in some rural farm towns, it's not Wyoming. Right, so he brings a different skill set. Trayvon Barber, who I wish his wife the best. I know something happened with her this evening, so he couldn't make it. But he's a performance-based teacher by his own statements, and the way he's teaching you how to be confident in running a gun is something that a lot of people don't experience. So they were very shocked and very put back by that. I must say the class that everybody said surprised me the most was Matt's. I think that the amount of interaction, moving around, you had your ups, your downs as far as emotional swings. Oh, this is fun. Damn it, I would have died. Like you had a lot of emotional swings going there. So a lot of people were extremely shocked by that. And the big reason is because nobody really knew what to expect, which is great. I wanted them to not expect it. And then nothing but praise and hand claps for Michael Martin, what he did with, I know we can only talk about that so much because it's not like, that was for us. It wasn't for public consumption. However, the new medical product that the USCCA is going to bring to the market was tested with our group. And I must say that it's one that I cannot wait to add a certification to. So I think everybody was pleasantly shocked. They sat back in the biggest, and that's even before we get to day 3. That's before we get to the free meals. That's before we get to the swag bag. That's before we get to the creative ways. That's before we get to the networking events. That's before we get to bonfire. That's before we get to sitting around and really developing relationships. That's before we get to a night vision experience. That's before we get to running through a dual laser tag facility with Mantis products, getting content you've never seen created before for Mantis. That's before we get to any of that. And everybody's like, I can't believe that you would put this thing on for 350 bucks. No. Can't believe I just got that amount of training for 350 bucks. It's probably the biggest thing that comes back. And what I always tell them is there are 2 different people you should be thanking right now, 2 groups. You should walk over and you should thank our sponsors, and you should walk over and then you should thank everybody who is teaching, because all of these individuals could be charging a heck of a lot of money to do what they're doing, but they're doing a lot of what they're doing because they want to see this event impact you in a positive way to you better. So if you want to thank me, go thank them. And I can see a lot of content coming out even from the event. We're only a week away. I think the last time I counted over 275 videos that came out from the event. And that's not including what my staff created. Some of them are very short, but a lot of pictures, a lot of cross marketing. I'm seeing people scheduling classes together. I saw a lot of people talking with the different sponsors. I know, Zeke, you had a pretty positive lead pool come out of that event. And so that's what I wanted them to do. Go back and thank the sponsors. It might be my brainchild, but without the support of my friends in the industry, that vehicle goes nowhere. So that was kind of the feedback. And then that was the feedback I gave to them, is to make sure you thank the people that makes this happen for you, so we can keep this cost effective and we can keep getting good education out in the community.
Nice. And to what Katie was saying about the sponsors and the business that comes from it, if there's companies that are watching this now, it's worth it. He already said I had a flood of leads after the weekend because most everybody had requested info. Since then, we've had more leads, and a lot of those are converting too. Nice. And that's a big thing. So it was definitely worth the while for a company to sponsor the event as well.
Thank you, Zeke. I appreciate that.
Katie, when you said that just a second ago, is your brainchild, but the sponsors and all that, it makes me think of ideas are a dime a dozen. It's what you do with them that matters. So it's, you don't give yourself enough credit for it. It's your brainchild, but if you wouldn't have, birthed it and had other people believe in you like we all do, then it wouldn't have gone anywhere. So yes, sponsors are very important for sure. But we owe it a lot to you, and you organized it like a madman. You're running around cool, calm, and collected like Katie always is.
No, I appreciate it, man. I do appreciate it. Just glad to see it. Glad to see the positive impact come from it, and glad to see that Train and Learn is a heartfelt event. It's not another event, and that is not a shun to anything that anybody organizes, because organizing anything is not easy. But Train and Learn, much like the way I got into this industry as a whole, was born out of a passion. I really want to see people succeed. I think that goes missed. I hate to see people fail, especially when when you look at small business truly is the bloodline of America, period. Right. And then when you look at what we do in the freedom community, we're the ones that are promoting the protection of America. Right. So we got dual jobs here. And I'm just glad that people could feel that heart. They could feel that passion. And at the end of the day, the event truly is about them. It is about them. I make sure I walk around, I shake everybody's hand. I try to talk to everybody I can, at least for a moment, to let them know, man, I put it on, granted, great, but we put it on for you. So I really want you to pour into it. I want you to invest in yourself. I want you to absorb this information and understand this can be a yearly professional development for you. And the amount of individuals that showed up that never really understood even what professional development was goes to show that the event needed to be housed. And I just think it's an emotional tug for me. It really pulls on my heartstrings to see people from all different walks of life merging together as well, right? There was one time where this industry was very, and it still is just by sheer numbers, but I'm talking about you didn't see much diversity. It was pretty clean cut who was the representation of this industry. And now when you look and you say, oh, wow, not only are things changing, right? And they're drastically changing. Like it's obvious that they're changing for the better. Not only are things changing, I do like the fact that I've had a couple of people, thank me for saying, you showed us more than that guns were for us and that we could learn to absorb our freedom. You actually showed us that we have a place for being who you are and running a professional development event where all these Americans believe in coming and listen to you. It gave these two people pulled me to the side and had this conversation. It gave them inspiration to know that they don't belong just behind the trigger, that they can have a bigger impact in this industry as well. And they don't have to say, oh, since we have diversity, that diversity also then pigeonholes you into just being a trigger puller. We can actually come in, bring our diversity. And this is why I told them you can come in, bring your diversity. And a big part of your diversity is diversity of thought, right? What do you see that nobody's seen? What do you have to offer nobody's thought about? What are you bringing from your life experiences nobody's ever, ever explored? And you bring that and you make this freedom community your own. Nobody can tailor it for you. You tailor it to yourself. So it's good to know that people are being impacted that way as well.
Yeah, well said. There's something as you were talking there made me think of like Toastmasters and masterminds, and I would say that the train and learn, and I like to get your guys' thoughts on this. The train and learn is kind of like a mastermind, but and I don't mean this in a negative, but on the cheap, right? Like it's a very inexpensive mastermind, because what that first day, that Friday was phenomenal with, Zeke getting up there. And I was like, dude, man, this guy is stuttering and he's nervous. And I was like, I feel so sorry for Zeke, man, because I don't know Zeke that well. I just met Zeke in October at the Iraq Veteran 88 Range Day. And I'm thinking, oh, dude, man. I was going to go over and pat you on the back afterwards and like buy you a drink or get you a free drink, because of course it was free, but
what was funny is I thought Devin was in on it. I couldn't remember who all I told. I made sure I told KD so KD wasn't like freaking out. But Devin was going, hey man, you need some water? You want me to do the clicker for you? And I thought he was playing into it. I was like, no, man, I'm good. And then afterwards, he's like, no, I had no clue. I thought you were like having a stroke.
That's awesome. Coming to your aid. That's cool. Yeah. All right, so let's go around. Let's go to Chris, because we haven't heard Chris talk in a while. So, Chris, your biggest takeaway from the train and learn, quick, and what do you think? Go, Tony. You're next. Think about it.
Biggest takeaway was, honestly, no offense, Zeke, I loved what you did, but Amari was, some of his stuff just really hit me on another level, man. Stuff that what was funny is stuff that I had learned in the corporate world from what I'd done in the corporate world, but I just wasn't sure how to apply it to this industry. And he kind of helped me see that with a lot of what he went over. And then, of course, your force on force stuff, man. I tell everybody, if you want to bring your training to another level, force on force is where it's at. It
appreciate that.
It makes you think so much. Everybody, we can all sit around and be keyboard warriors and stuff, but until you actually get in it and have to start processing it quick, you never really know what it's going to be like. And I'm not going to lie, man, Trayvon just made me cry. He just made me cry and made me feel like I had no clue what I was doing, but he pushed me to a point where I haven't been able to push myself with speed and everything. So this, to me, I'm not taking anything away from the other training learns. This to me was hands down the best training learn so far.
Awesome.
It's been stepped up I've been there since the beginning, and every year it's a step up, a step up, a step up, a step up. So I'm really excited for next year. The downside is my daughter's graduating next year, and there's a possibility graduation falls on train and learn. So we're going to have to see how the school year goes, but hell or high water, I'm going to find some way to get down there.
Amen. Yeah, you make a good point with that, and I want to put it out there. It was my first train and learn that I've been to, and KD wanted me to teach, and I was humbled that he thought enough of me to have me come in and do that. And I'm and I wasn't sure what I was going to expect, what was going to happen or whatnot. And it was really cool to see that the business side of it, and I got to partake in that. Because usually when I go teach a class, I walk in and it's like, boom, just teach the class. I'm in and out. And, there's no benefit to me, other obviously monetarily if I'm teaching it out in public, but not like what I got Friday from Zeke and Amari and stuff, that was phenomenal. I would have loved to take some of the training from some of the other instructors. So Michael Martin, myself, Trayvon, and Jason had all talked and said that it would be good to be able to take each other's classes. So tidbit there for you, Katie.
There's a thing. You haven't got the email yet, but you will get the email because we've been trying to do a lot of IT. So all the instructors, because you guys don't get to take it, all the instructors are invited back the following year to be participants.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So you just show up.
Very cool.
I mean, you get to do that way. You can get that Saturday in, and so that's our way of being able to pour back to you. Fortunately, the speakers, they get to speak their own part, right? And then they still get to do everything. But the instructors are definitely stuck at a station. So the way that we try to reward you guys is that the following year you get to come partake in the entire event with no responsibility.
Very cool. Nice. Tony.
I think when we're talking about training, Mark, I've been there since the first one. I only missed last year's, which was upsetting. But every year something. Every year brings more and more. We talked this year for my work. I did actual more interviews than I done in previous years because I thought it was important to actually speak to the people there and get it down, not only for my podcast, but just to interview people and work on that part of my skill set. Also, I think one of the most memorable parts for me, and I think one of the most important parts that might be overshadowed by other speakers, was the VIPs that we met Friday. Because you can have your own ideas how things run and how people think and how people look at your product.
Yep.
But until you talk to those people, you don't know what they're thinking or why they're thinking what they're thinking. And I thought that was awesome. And then the marketing, the Zeke, the Mike, Omari. Wow. I mean, just Friday was probably, in my opinion, worth the money. Yeah. Just that. And then, of course, I got to watch Chris cry on the line with Trayvon. He's like, I ain't never done nothing this hard. Oh my God. I don't even know how to use a gun. Oh my God.
Hey, I wasn't the only one. I wasn't the only one out there crying. We were all out there crying. What are you talking about?
Oh, dude, I ain't saying it was you. You the only one admitted to it. I just saying, look. But it was really great to get out there. Mike's class, Mike Martin's class. Wow. Because I've hosted first aid classes, and this was a really good first aid class, trauma medicine class. Dealing with Matt and listening to his dad jokes. I think he was doing like 7 dad jokes a minute. And that was really good. But it kept you interested, and I liked it, and I love the scenarios, and I got to watch Chris kill a man. And
that's right. Beckman.
He murderized Beckman.
I used the force.
That was the greatest.
Was.
So I got footage of that, and I've shared it with both of these guys. So I'm allowing them to take the time to post it, and then I'm going to post it. Cool. I thought it was great. All of it was different. All of it pushed us differently. And that's been every train and learn. And I'm like, how in the heck do we have every train and learn be different? Everyone be something new. I got to use different firearms that I hadn't used before. I got to actually interview the new CEO of Tactical Response. And I'm actually the first person to interview him on a podcast.
Wow.
Like he's never been interviewed on a podcast before. So I was able to do that, and we'll be posting that up. So, I mean, just talking about the materials I got as an attendee was awesome. The stuff I get to put out is awesome. The things I learned was amazing. And this is and it seems like longer than 3 days, and it's hilarious because you get to meet everyone, you get to meet new people, you get to come together, and then it's over. It's really just, now you're kind of like sitting there on the ride back, like, wow, this was big, and it's over now. And that's why I encourage everybody that goes there to stay in contact, to continue to work together. We have enough people here that we're still in contact because we're in the New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey area. So I still talk to some of these guys from the first train and learn, from the second train and learn. So I encourage anybody to go. I like the fact that he limits the number of people that can go so it doesn't become overwhelming and it kind of stays intimate if you want to choose to have it be that way. I think it's a great thing, and I encourage people all over to try to take it, especially if you're a content creator or on a firearms related or industry related business.
1000%. Totally agree.
Cool. And I just real quick, I just want to give a shout out to Alicia. She did an awesome job behind the scenes, getting everything organized, creating that group chat. I think that's because I know I still see stuff getting posted. I try to stay in contact with people in it. So a quick shout out to her because she did a phenomenal job behind the scenes with everything.
Absolutely, 1000% agree. Alicia was a well added benefit and an asset, and that girl came through in the clutch.
Definitely.
And some badass t-shirts too.
Yeah, see, wearing one right now.
Yeah, I'm waiting on her to actually give me my Train and Learn t-shirt. I had to provide the source material mainly because she couldn't find a car cover. So I had to provide my own.
We did. I promise you, Tony, we tried. We tried.
I totally understand. Listen, Omar's booked. There's a supply chain issue, and they weren't tarps available. I got it.
I guess the only sad thing about Train and Learn, as wonderful as an event it is, and I'm so glad that all of you guys enjoyed it, and Clint, I hope to see you out next year, is that it's bittersweet, but this is also another Train and Learn success story at the same time. Being a Missouri kid, having it right outside of St. Louis was special to me because I never felt like my state really got the recognition it deserved for what it does for freedom. Missouri is a beacon when it comes to Second Amendment rights. It's really come a long way in the last 15, 20 years. And so it was nice to be able to have something, because we never had anything for us outside of maybe some competitions, but the Second Amendment community in large never paid us attention. So it was good to bring something there. However, we're going to be relocating for 2024. One of the things I've been able to do is even take information that I've absorbed, some of my own drive, my own passion, some business sense. I do have a 501c3 to do things with that and to kind of bring No Other Choice in to help fund it. And I was able to get the one thing that haunts most firearms instructors. Chris actually is in a good position, but most firearm instructors are haunted by space. They don't have a place to do their own thing. And then also loving what I do with community outreach. I want to be able to teach people to work with their hands, to garden, to farm, to read, to write, be financially literate, resume writing skills, de-escalation classics, civics courses. I want to be able to host and give all these things back to all people, especially young people, though, to be able to help them out. So we were able to secure a parcel of land here just south of Atlanta. So that's what we'll be doing. Half, if you think about it, half of it will be all things Second Amendment. The other half will be all things human enrichment, all outreach, all those things. And then there will be a crossover between the two. But the beautiful thing is there's nothing like, and big shout out to Rob's Guns. Rob and Lynn of Rob's Guns in Leadington, Missouri are nothing but fantastic people. And they'll actually be at the Train and Learn in Atlanta. We're moving it to Atlanta. One reason I can do that is because I was able to take things, execute on them, utilize my network, and who's a big part of it, and buy my own land. All right. So now I don't have to, now I can actually host Train and Learn at my own facility. So now I get to see that event come home to where I call home now and see it grow from there. So that's another thing when I say success story. It's like if you come to this event and you truly utilize it for what it's for and you really invest in yourself, you'll be surprised how all these little nuggets lead up to you building something big, right? Because I went from owning a house, but never owned the land before, and now owning 40 acres, which is plenty to do. An instructor's wet dream. My first bay, if you will, on the land is 125 by 130 square yards, right? So there is no, I can't reach out, I can't do this, I can't train that here, I can't do that there, right? So now that I have access, I can scale my business, right? I was able to I have 4 employees across the country, my own affiliate network now. So if you really get out there, you really hustle, you really listen, you'll be surprised what you can do. So that's what Train and Learn is for. Matt, your little mute button thingy.
Yeah, I muted myself. I muted myself because I had to open my email and send. We're recording with Michael Waller and Devin next.
Oh, okay. Tell them jerks I said hi.
I will.
I thought you froze. I thought you froze. I'm like, did he freeze?
Can't forget you, Zeke. Your takeaways.
Oh, what my takeaways? It was I didn't have any negative thoughts going into it. It wasn't like I was like, this isn't gonna be anything. It was just way more than anything I would have imagined, as far as what you got to learn and experience. I did learn that Roy Hill from Brownells is like the Flash. We dueled each other. And I turned around. While turning around, as I've been trained, I was getting off the X, and he was already aiming at me. And I'm like, whoa, hang on. And I was one of the ones that would have died in that scenario. I learned that Rob Beckman, is that his last name?
Yeah, Beckman.
Yes. Beckman.
Yeah, I learned that he can do an amazing barrel roll backwards. That was pretty awesome. No, there was a lot of good things that I took away from each class. Matt, I'm not blowing smoke because you're the host of this show, but the stuff that you got out of the way you got your adrenaline up, you kind of had some situational awareness stuff that you taught us in that short amount of time that you had was way more than I ever thought would go into a course like that. So kudos to you on that.
Appreciate that.
The biggest thing. Wait! I can't forget Brokeback Prone. Tony, you didn't even bring up Brokeback Prone.
You didn't.
I was going to bring it up, but I was told I was making. I was bringing too much attention to myself.
So we had to do this position in the rifle course. And what was funny is we get to the rifle course, and he's like, "All right, y'all are our elite group, right?" And we're all kind of like, "I guess." He goes, "All right, we're going to have fun." And everybody's like, "Yeah." And I'm just going, "Guys, that doesn't mean what you think that means." And so he had us bending into pretzels upside down, managing the recoil of our rifle with the forearm. Just crazy. And Tony and I both did it. We're the two biggest guys out there. And we both did the Brokeback Prone. Basically, it was you put your feet up against the barrier, you squat down onto your knees, and you're upside down managing the recoil with your forearm. But we both pulled it off. But back to the biggest thing that I got out of this is something that KD's already talked about, and that was that speech he gave Sunday morning before we all got started with the content creation. He said, "This isn't about me. This isn't about NOC. This is about you guys. This is about small businesses. This is about the success of the people that were there learning everything they could for their companies, their businesses." And I wrote a blog for our school. Every time I do an event, I try to write a blog for our school website. And I sent it to KD, and he loved it. But he was like, you keep saying trainers, can you change that to, what'd you say? Freedom professionals?
Yeah.
Freedom community professionals. And I was like, wow. And as I was changing each trainer to that, my mind started like thinking more about the event. And it really is about the freedom community. It's not just trainers. It's any professional that works in the firearms industry, content creators, marketers, accountants, whatever your role is for the firearms industry. It was a huge benefit to everybody. And it's about you as an attendee. It's not about MGS or Brownells or NOC, or it was about you bettering yourself to where you can go out into the community, into the world, and take that better and make more people better. And that's where the good starts coming out of this.
Nice. Awesome. Well, why don't we go around the room and you guys give how people can find out about you, how they can stalk you, that kind of stuff. So, Katie, why don't you kick it off? Let everybody know how they can find out more about you and sign up for the next Train and Learn and get in on all this awesome knowledge.
One, I want to thank you guys for the time tonight. Two, I know you have some other gentlemen you're going to be interviewing. Let's just say another reason that Train and Learn is very important, because one of those gentlemen had a very unfortunate incident in the same clothes he left the event in, and that was his first formal training event. And somebody went into the ground and somebody went home. and you're interviewing him, so you can take a guess of which side he came out on. So it means the event means more than what you know. Also, I want to thank all of you gentlemen, all of you for participating, Matt, you for teaching, Chris, Tony, and Zeke, you for presenting. And thank you guys for Zeke additional sponsorship of the event. And I really do appreciate all you guys more than you know, man. You have no idea the joy it brings to my heart to see people out there getting pumped up to learn and go out and do more, and to know that people that I now call my friends support me. So that means a lot. Klint, I'm going to thank you, brother, because you've equipped me with yet another ability to be an asset to the community by certifying me as a counselor. So that has already opened up doors. I think we're touching 7 to 8 people in the month of July alone to bring them along that journey. So thank you for giving me another avenue to impact people in a positive manner, and thus once again promoting small business and getting Americans educated. So all of you gentlemen mean more to me than you know. As far as the way you can reach me, you can head to nootherchoice.com. Just right over there to the website. It gives you all my contact information. Reach out to us, sign up for a class. We got classes all over the place. I know next month I'm headed off to Palmer, Alaska. And we got Houston, Texas. We got a couple of spots in Missouri. We got Georgia, South Carolina. I mean, I'm trying to get all over the place. And if you want training in your area, just shoot us an email at info@nootherchoice.com. If you want to keep up on social media, most active on Instagram, but you can also find me on all of them, including YouTube, at The Real NOC, The Real NOC for No Other Choice. And I look forward to interacting with you. I do have a very bad case of resting bitch face. I am a nice person, though. All you have to do is say something to me. I'll light up, and I love to interact with the public. That's what I'm here for. So reach out. Reach out.
Super. Chris.
So first, thank you for having me on. I always enjoy doing stuff like this. This is also kind of new for me, getting into some of this stuff because of Train and Learn. So thank you all for having me on. KD, always thank you, brother, for Train and Learn and everything, man. I mean, short and skinny, my business would be closed. I would be back in a corporate job if it wasn't for Train and Learn. So it has helped me out tremendously and impacted my business tremendously. So thank you very, very much for Train and Learn. I'm really hoping to be there next year, but if not, she only gets one graduation, brother. So we'll see what happens. Look, I'm gonna get all teared up on this because this event has. I tell everybody this event has totally turned my life and my business around, and I tell everybody, if you are looking to get into the freedom industry, this is the event that you need to be at. Hands down, not taken away from any other event out there in the industry, but to me, this is the event that's going to help you get into it and help take you to that next level. If you want to find me, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Just search @Tactical Santa. Make sure you use a K because I'm an oddball. Facebook is SC Gun School. My website's scgunschool.com. And every Tuesday at 1:15 Eastern Standard Time, I have a radio show, Talking with Tactical Santa. WDRBmedia.com is where you can find all the stuff to download and listen.
Awesome. Tony.
First of all, I'd like to thank you guys for having me on the League of Extraordinary Bearded Men, and Matt. And Matt.
I got scruffy. I'm scruffy.
Yeah, that's cute, lady. So
keep shaving. It complements the feminine look you're going for.
Happy Pride Month, Matt. Love you.
Happy Pride Month. Tide Month? Did you say Happy Tide Month?
Whatever, lady. So again, I enjoy being on the show. Thank you to Kevin. I've said this multiple times. Train and Learn is bigger. Chris is right. Train and Learn is more than just a class. I've taken classes. You know what I mean? You go to a class, you leave a class. You get out of stuff what you put into it. You can get out of Train and Learn a lot more than you put into it with the amount of effort. Like when I go to a regular class, you want to meet the guys. You want to talk about, the firearms carry methods, all that stuff. Or when you go to a medical class, you try to get things out of it. When Train and Learn, if you put in, you get relationships, friendships, just meeting on a different level, man, more intimate. Again, I say that because I go to SHOT Show, I go to NRA, and I do my elevator speech, and I try to get people interested in supporting the work I do with Diversity Shoot. But you get to see them, and like 100 people are seeing them, or 1,000 people, or thousands of people in case of NRA. I mean, that's 80,000 people. Training Learn is 60 people, bro.
Right.
Over a 3-day weekend. Come in early and you get to hang out. And my thing is, you talk to people, you get the feel of it. As a when I was what do you call it, a presenter in 2021? I think that's what it was.
Yeah, we let you talk. That was unfortunate, but we did.
Yeah. Well, being the shy, shrinking flower I am, it took a lot out of me to actually do 3 of those. But it was like we got to talk. People have to ask questions about advocacy and how to get involved and why should they get involved as a business. And I got to explain that to a small, like 15, 20 people in a room, why that's important. And then what we did and the way we did it this time, I think it was even better. This thing is worth going to. If you don't, you're making a mistake. If you go there, if you've gone there as an alumni, you haven't reached out and maintained relationship, that's a mistake on your part. Change it today. Now, as far as what I do, yes, I get out there, I do my thing. My next event is June 15th at the Union Hill Gun Club. You can find me at diversityshoot.com. You can also find me at Simon Says Train on Instagram, Simon Says Train on Facebook, Second for Everyone on Twitter, the Second for Everyone on Facebook. I try to reach people, introduce them to firearms, introduce them to Second Amendment advocacy groups, eat food, break down walls. And it's called Diversity Shoot because it's not just a diversity of skin color, it's perception. It's how people look at life. It's where they come from. It's all of that to understand that the Second Amendment is the human right of self-defense. That's what I do because I love people. As a Christian, as a human being, I love you. I want you to be able to take care of the ones you love and defend yourself against those that want to take your life or harm you because of who you are. So that's what I do. And Train and Learn allowed me to meet other like-minded people that believe in what I do and allow it to grow. And they donated money to me. They donated everything, including friendships. And I think that's the most important part that I got out of Train and Learn was the friendships and the relationships.
Amen. That's awesome. Zeke.
Tony didn't say how to find you. If you rub a 2-liter with your pinky out and say his name, he'll appear.
3 times. 3 times in the mirror.
My bad. I forgot. Thank you guys for having me on. KD, thank you for putting on the Train and Learn event. I mean, it was really good. And I'm saying this both from a sponsor perspective and also from somebody that got to participate in the trainings and the networking, making new friendships. Thank you guys for your friendships that we've all made, including the guy up what's the guy up at the top that has a SIG macro last name?
They still owe me money for that. You know that, right? I don't know if I'm going to get that check though, but I'm working on it.
And KD, do we have a backup video of Jared talking about how to make $250K with the entry level courses? Because I'd really like to do that now that I have my training license.
We can. I think we can arrange you a one-on-one, sir.
Okay, all right, gotcha. So I got a caller. Great. With me, with the school, it's mgs.edu. If you're interested in gunsmithing, you can go check us out on their website. All of our social media is MGS Trade School. And then me personally, if you have any questions about the school or anything in general, or you just want to chat, it's Zeke, Zeke_Stout on all the social medias.
Nice. Awesome. Well, gentlemen.
What do you got? What do you got coming up, Matt? You got to give your quick plug too.
Oh, okay, fine. I was going to blow by that. So I am going to be in Maryland coming up the beginning of July, teaching 2 UTM instructor courses. I'm teaching the Saturday the 8th and Sunday the 9th. I'm going to be in New York City this weekend teaching a saber pepper spray instructor course. I don't know. I'm supposed to be somewhere in. I'm going to the USCCA Expo. And before that, I'm going to be going to Michigan to teach. I think I'm going to Michigan again to teach soon. I'll be out in Washington teaching saber pepper spray in August. So all over the place. All at PS&Ed.com. That's where that's all listed. What about you, Klint? What are you up to?
Well, gee, I've got some dates on the Personal Defense Network training tour. Actually, Katie's got some dates on that tour too.
Nice.
So if you want to check out any of the classes I have coming up, or that Rob does, or Katie does, Rob Pincus, or Katie does, or Jara is on that as well. You can go to Personal Defense PDNTrainingTour.com. And you can also find those dates on my website, triggerpressersunion.com. National Train a Teacher Day is June 17th. That's coming right up. And volunteer instructors from across the country are donating their time, effort, and energy to train teachers, school staff, administrators, and anybody that works with youth in a leadership capacity. Those classes are free for those folks. And I've got volunteer instructors all across the country offering training. You can find those classes on nationaltrainateacherday.com. Last thing I just wanted to plug real quick is Firearms Owners Against Crime Institute for Legal, Legislative, and Educational Action in Pennsylvania. We're the premier Pennsylvania Second Amendment group, is a sponsor of our show now. But if you want to read my rantings, I author the newsletter every 2 weeks. So you can just log on to the website. I mean, you don't even have to log on. You can just go in there and read those if you want. But if you're in Pennsylvania, own a firearm, I highly recommend that you consider joining our organization. It's the best $30 you'll spend, and we won't send you a hat and a Chinese knife. We'll use that money to help fight tyranny in the Capitol in Harrisburg.
You're in Harrisburg?
Yeah. I'm in Pittsburgh, but our organization is statewide in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. West side. Okay, never mind. I was going to say, I'm going to be up in Allentown next month. So.
Well, let me know, because I travel all around. I've got other classes that aren't open enrollment. I'm going to be out there at the end of soon. So yeah, let me know.
Quick shout out right now to Rick Hector. He's doing his women's training thing the last weekend of July in Detroit. So look him up. Legally Armed in Detroit is where you can find him, and you can support that. If you're a trainer, please reach out to him. I'll be there. And I'll be asking for funding. I'll be doing raffles. I'll be doing all that, because I have no idea how long it takes to be a 501c3. So I'm going to just keep fundraising and try to make a difference. I spoke to him Sunday. I spoke to him the last couple of days about going out there, because he wants me to host a diversity shoot in 2024. So he told me, while I'm out there this time, speak to the Rangers he'll be working with and see if we can host. We can set up so I can actually host events going into that weekend. So Diversity Shoot is working its way across the country also. And that's because the confidence and the business things, again, that I picked up and learned at Train and Learn. So it's just awesome, man. Get involved. Thanks a lot for that time to talk about Rick and what we're doing.
That's where I'll be. I was saying I'm going to be in Michigan again teaching, and I'm like, what am I doing? I'm going to be there. I'm driving there to teach there. Then we're going to Washington, then Sabre, then to Montana to teach a taser course for Will Parker. So
there you go.
Crazy, all over the place. Anyway, gentlemen, it's been awesome. Great catching up with you, Klint, and you guys all stay safe and keep up the good fight.
All right,
take care, fellas.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Have a good one.
There's a lot of sponsors to make this show possible, like Mantis.
Make sure you check them out and give them your business.
This episode is brought to you by Sabre Red, pepper spray and safety products for all Americans. Next Level Training, makers of CERT training products. Mantis. Mantis X helps shooters suck less. Firearms Owners Against Crime Institute for Legal, Legislative, and Educational Action. Meet the Pressers is also supported by other shows, companies, and our Patreon members. Thank you.
Thanks for watching or listening to our show.
Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, click that little bell thingy so you know when the next episode's uploaded. Support us on Patreon. Come to one of our classes. Host us to come to you and do one of our classes at your location.
And until next time,
adieu.
Thank you for watching Meet the Pressers.